Uzbekistan in India, His Excellency Mr. Manish Prabhat, Indian Ambassador in Uzbekistan. The other guest speakers, Mr. G. Sermo, Deputy Head of Department of Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Uzbekistan. Mr. Asmat Isave, Senior Officer, Investment Promotion Agency, Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade, Uzbekistan. Mr. Nishant Bajaj, he is supposed to join us. He has not joined us. Then Mr. Sanjay Bhan has joined us, Director, Ediface Mining Company, Uzbekistan. And Mr. Atul Ganatra has joined us. He is the President of Cotton Corp Association of India. And Mr. Ashwini Lohani is also expected to join us from GMR Services. We are today having a very interesting session, and thanks to Mr. Dilshad Akhtar, with whom I had a discussion, and he said, yes, we must organize this event. And I'm happy that we are able to put this event in place and have it today. And we hope that we have similar events every quarterly so that we can create much needed momentum in development of trade and investment between India and Uzbekistan. So that is the main area of working together. The India and Uzbekistan economic connectivity and opportunities and prospects is a subject for today, and organized by our World Trade Center Association in association and All India Association of Industries in association with Embassy of Uzbekistan, India. India exported about 280 million of mechanized products to Uzbekistan. The main thing products which include medicines, vaccines, antibiotics, Ayurvedic medicines, vehicle parts, cotton combing machines, transmission, shaft, grinding, food preparation, etc. And whereas imported from 15 million worth of merchandise from Uzbekistan. I think there are great prospects for importing fruits, vegetables, dry fruits, and various other products from Uzbekistan. I think that's why this seminar is organized, so we create more awareness among the people of India and people of Uzbekistan that there are various other areas of working together. Once our ambassador of India in Uzbekistan and ambassador of Uzbekistan in India speaks, they will give us more, they will enlighten us more on what more could be done between India and Uzbekistan. We are fortunate that there has been great exchange of high-level delegation. The Prime Minister of India has been twice to Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan president, new president, has been twice in recent times. And this shows the bonding between our diplomatic relations and how keen we are to promote our diplomatic and cultural and business relations between Uzbekistan and India. There have been joint statements and joint agreement between both the countries in 2019. We are grateful to Uzbekistan. They had been able to gift us oxygen concentrators, which came to Delhi, and through WHO they had been given us, and which was handed over to our WHO, for which they are really grateful, because this pandemic we have to fight all together, and some of the gifting like medical supplies and oxygen to each other is a big thing, because that was a need of the hour for us. Indian companies have invested in chemicals, textiles, leather, and information technology in other countries and also in Uzbekistan. And there are other opportunities where Indian companies could look at. There is an exchange of regular students between India and Uzbekistan. Many of the Uzbekistan students have been studying here. There are more opportunities which could be created. The ITC program also, 2,400 professionals have undergone training in ITC Premier Institutes India from Uzbekistan. We think that exchange of ideas, exchange of thoughts, exchange of education, then tourism is one of the great attractions between Uzbekistan and India. We hope the flight from Mumbai starts very fast. Delhi flight has already started, but there has been some restriction, and in times to come, we hope such restrictions will be overcoming, and we'll have a more opportunity of trade, exchange of trade relation. As Mr. Prabhat has said, that we will plan the trade delegation once the things open up, and also delegation from Uzbekistan to India, so that such delegation will generate more business and investment opportunities. With these few words, I thank you all for allowing me to speak and start the event. And now I'll request the Ambassador of Uzbekistan in India, Mr. Dilsod Akhto, to please speak to us. Thank you, sir. Please.
Good afternoon, dear Mr. Vijay Kalantri, dear colleague, Excellency Mr. Manish Prabha, dear distinguished speakers, honorable guests. It's a great honor for me to greet all of the participants of this webinar on India and Uzbekistan economic connectivity, opportunities and prospects, dedicated to the 30th anniversary of the independence of Uzbekistan. I'm very thankful to leadership of All India Association of Industries for taking the initiative for organizing this event, which will definitely contribute to the further development of mutually beneficial cooperation between Uzbekistan and India. Dear friends, I would like to shortly speak about current developments in Uzbekistan and achievements gained during the years of independence. Undoubtedly, during the years of independence, Uzbekistan has made historical efforts to build a new state and society, as well as high milestones have been reached thanks to a resolute will and enormous potential of our people. And for last 5 years, since end of 2016, under the dynamic leadership of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, new initiatives and large-scale reform process were launched in every sphere of national life. Development strategy included large reforms and initiatives. Speaking about the true sense and idea of the action strategy adopted by the initiative of the president 5 years ago, it will be correct to say that this unique document has set strategic goal of building a new Uzbekistan and laying the foundations for the third renaissance of the development of our country. Under this development strategy, in a short period of time, the huge reforms were launched, including free currency conversion, free economic zones, development, the tourism sector, Institute of Business Ombudsman, abolished the monopoly, reformed tax laws, improvements of the investment climate of Uzbekistan, including decrease the tax rates for foreign investors, be introduced the tax incentives for firms with foreign investment, and adopt a new regulation governing investment incentives. Open multi-billion-dollar credit lines from international banks, for example, ADB, World Bank, IMF, and Islamic Bank. Promote an open and free foreign economic policy with neighbors and restart negotiations with WTO and the European Union on a free trade agreement. One of the essential works initiated by President Shavkat Mirziyoyev was to create a favorable and attractive economic zone for both domestic and foreign investors and entrepreneurs to develop Uzbekistan's economy. Today, Uzbekistan is becoming a country of democratic transformations, big opportunities, and practical deeds. Dear friends, despite the negative consequences of the global crisis due to pandemic, the economy of Uzbekistan has shown stability, the available economic growth potential, and the timely adopted anti-crisis measures made it possible to avoid a recession and maintain positive dynamics by the end of 2020. In 2020, Uzbekistan's GDP increased by 1.6% and amounted to $56 billion, while GDP in other neighboring countries and main trade partners declined, for example. Reforms in Uzbekistan during the last years has made the country a more appealing destination for international capital. According to the UNCTAD's 2020 World Investment Report, foreign direct investments inflows increased significantly in 2020 to 2.3 billion US dollars compared to 2018. Total FDI stock stood at 9.5 billion US dollars in 2020. Uzbekistan ranked 69th in the World Bank 2020 doing business, same as the previous year. The country is among the economies that improved the most across 3 or more doing business reports. Short about Uzbekistan-Indian relationship. Realizing these opportunities, Indian entrepreneurs are achieving a noticeable economic presence in Uzbekistan in almost all sectors. Currently, there are about 330 enterprises with the participation of Indian capital in Uzbekistan, including 210 enterprises with 100% Indian capital. This economic and strategic partnership are driving strong and robust growth despite the complex global pandemic situation. As of 2020, trade turnover between Uzbekistan and India reached to $442.6 million with increase of 24.5%. It should be noted that the economic and trade potential of the 2 countries is not fully used. Both sides need to intensify efforts to develop concrete measures to increase volume of mutual trade. Carried marketing research shows that there are great opportunities which we have to take advantage of. For example, pharmaceutical sector. The Indian side has achieved a noticeable economic presence in the region in the pharmaceutical sector. India accounts for about 30% of imports of pharmaceutical products from the Central Asian states. Taking into account the high priority of Uzbekistan and India cooperation on pharmaceutical industry, in 2019, pharmaceutical free economic zone Andijan Farm was established in the Andijan region, designed primarily for Indian investors. Today, in the territory of these pharmaceutical economic free zones, with the participation of Indian pharmaceutical companies, more than 10 investment projects are implemented for a total amount of 63.1 million US dollars. There are investment projects of companies of Kadila Pharmaceuticals, for example, Macro Pharma Sansar, Gold Andijan Pharma, Beta UBK International Private Limited, and others. Uzbekistan is highly interested in attracting Indian investments and advanced technologies to produce modern competitive drugs and creation of modern laboratory and research centers focused on the development of original drugs. Through implementing such projects, Indian companies will gain access to the Uzbek market, over 35 million people, which has the largest population in Central Asia. At the same time, through the free trade agreement of Uzbekistan with the CIS countries and Georgia, they can gain market access of more than 300 million consumers. Textile industry. As you are aware, the textile and clothing and nightwear are strategically important industries for the economy of both Uzbekistan and India. Uzbekistan has proven a competitive advantage in the textile sector because of its relatively cheaper skilled labor, as well as cheap rate electricity costs, allows manufacturers to reduce total cost of production. At the same time, textile companies of Uzbekistan can buy cotton at 10% discount compared to the price on the world market. Enterprises in the textile industries receive support in the form of canceling customs payments for imported raw materials and equipment which are not produced in the Republic. In April this year, the EU, European Union, has accepted Uzbekistan as the 9th beneficiary country of the Special Incentive Arrangement for Sustainable Development and Good Governance, GSP Plus system. The European Union started applying preferential tariffs for products imported from Uzbekistan under this arrangement from 10th of April 2021, this year. So we call on potential Indian companies producing high-tech textile equipment and companies with world-famous textile brands to use these opportunities and implement joint beneficial investment projects. Fresh and dried fruits. The continental climate of the Republic of Uzbekistan, where there are 300 sunny days a year and fertile soil, is well suited for growing more than 350 types of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and beans, herbs, and melons. Uzbekistan exports 180 types of agricultural products to more than 80 countries around the world. The 5 key countries importing Uzbek fruits and vegetables include Russia, China, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Afghanistan. Today, exporters of Uzbekistan are increasing the volume of supplies to South Korea, the Baltic states, Persian Gulf countries, and many European countries, as well as to the countries of America also. Uzbekistan also exports various dried fruits and nuts to India, but carried marketing research shows that there are great opportunities in this area also, which we have to take advantage of. Education. We note with great satisfaction the dynamics of the development of educational cooperation between our countries. The branches of Amity and Sharda universities are very popular among the Uzbek youth. In September 2020, Bukhara State Medical Institute signed a memorandum with the University Noida International on the opening of its branch in this Indian university. On the basis of this of the branch, teachers of the Bukhara Medical Institute will teach Indian citizens youth admitted to study under the MBBS program. This is the first branch of the universities of Uzbekistan abroad. And currently, a decree of president was adopted on establishment in Jizak region, a branch of one of the leading Indian IT universities, Samkram Institute of Technology, where future ICT specialists will be trained, including software developers, specialists in computer engineering and information system management. IT. In July 2019, the Technological Park of Software Products and Information Technologies, IT Park, was created in Tashkent with the assistance of the Society of Software Technology Parks of India, STPI. In 2020, branches of the IT Park were opened in a number of cities of the country, for example, in Andijan, Jizak, Gulistan, etc. Active work in this direction continues. Tourism. Uzbekistan is a multi-profile tourism country which can offer a wide range of tourism directions and sites for tourists. In 2019, according to the Solo Travel Safety Report 2019, Uzbekistan was in 5th place in this ranking out of 142 countries. There are lots of historical sites, 2,700 old-aged ancient cities, a lot of options to visit with families, most of them under the list of UNESCO World Heritage. Moreover, you are about large potential of Uzbekistan in pilgrimage, of ziara tourism, ecotourism, culinary tourism, new infrastructures of winter sport lovers, and so on. Undoubtedly, the quarantine measures all over the world, as well as in our countries, due to pandemic, have affected the traditionally intensive tourist exchange between Uzbekistan and India. Despite the ongoing pandemic, we are taking practical steps to provide full service for foreign tourists now, taking into account that tourism sector is main part of economy of Uzbekistan, one of the strategic direction of our economy, and as well as India, we propose to organize joint events, including online format for further boosting of tourism flow in both direction from India to Uzbekistan and vice versa For information, since March of this year, from Delhi to Tashkent, there are 2 direct flights per week. Actually, one flight from Uzbekistan Airways and one of Indian Airlines, and in framework within the air bubble agreement. Dear friends, it's extremely important to consolidate our efforts in above mentioned areas, as well as assisting our respective companies to find proper partners, develop and implement mutually beneficial projects and solve any issues arising in this direction. The demand for the implementation of these talks is closely linked with India's foreign economic priorities to strengthen its position in the world as a major trade and industrial power of Asia. In this context, it should be emphasized that India side is already among the top 10 trade partners of the region. Dear participants, dear friends, I'm confident that regular organization of such events is a huge opportunity for the entrepreneurs of our countries to get acquainted with prospective areas of mutual beneficial cooperation, including the implementation of joint projects in trade and investment. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, His Excellency. I think we got a very good overview of India-Uzbekistan relations and the opportunities in trade and business. And we look forward to working together with your support and hope that during your time, of course, the 440 million is not a big business. Yours and Mr. Prabhas' tenure, we could at least cross 1 billion trade between India and Uzbekistan. That should be the target, and we are all there to support you and assure you of our cooperation and support. May I now request His Excellency Mr. Prabhat to please speak to us and give us his viewpoint.
Thank you, Mr. Vijay Kalantri, for inviting me to this very important forum. And I thank All India Association of Industries to organize this the business seminar to look into India-Uzbekistan economic and trade prospects. And I greet all the participants. I especially greet my counterpart, His Excellency Mr. Dilshod Akhatov, Ambassador of Uzbekistan to India. Especially on the 30th anniversary of the independence of Uzbekistan. We all just celebrated here in Tashkent in a big program, and it was a it was an event of great joy, and it was a very important event in the national life of Uzbekistan. 30 years of independence, Uzbekistan has achieved a lot, and India and Uzbekistan, two strategic partners, must work together on this happy occasion to take our heights to further take our relationship to further goals and further heights. And I think that all the members of AI would also rise to the occasion and think more of trade and investment, and mutual enterprises between India and Uzbekistan, so our relationship can go forward. I remember the speech of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev when he was speaking at the Independence Day ceremony here in Tashkent. He was saying that Uzbek economy was doing well. It has done better, even since last year, despite the pandemic situation in the region and in the country. And he very emphatically declared that the crisis in world economy, which had brought difficulties, is over for Uzbekistan. So Uzbekistan looks forward to a period of economic growth. And a lot of things are happening in Uzbekistan with the help of the government here. And I think that, government of India is also very hopeful that India and Uzbekistan can together take steps in many directions to bring our trade and economic and investment relations closer and greater. As you know that we are strategic partners, our leaders have exchanged visits at a very regular level. So Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi visited Uzbekistan in 2015 and 2016, and President Shavkat Mirziyoyev visited India in 2018 and 2019. In 2019, he was visiting for the Vibrant Gujarat Summit, and that shows the openness of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and the government of Uzbekistan to receive Indian enterprises, traders, investment, etc. So it was a very successful visit. And then both the leaders held a virtual summit last year in December. And we have a lot of good, targets which are there in front of both countries, and we have to together achieve it. One of them is achieving the target of $1 billion of bilateral trade. Well, it is somewhere, half of that figure or third of that figure, wherever we are. But, it is not enough, and traders and, enterprises from both India and Uzbekistan should work together to achieve that figure. And in fact, we are, seriously working for that. In fact, you all know that Prime Minister of India has set a trade target of export target for India of $400 billion worldwide. And so, a part of it also would go to Uzbekistan, and, the Embassy of India in Tashkent is also working towards that. We would be very happy to, promote Indian traders to look for more export opportunities to Uzbekistan. We are there for you. Similarly, of course, we would request Uzbekistan enterprises also to look for their markets in India. It is all mutually beneficial. The investment is rising, and you know that India and Uzbekistan both are working on a prospect of a bilateral investment treaty. This is under negotiations. So, the relevant authorities from both sides are negotiating that treaty. Meanwhile, we are going ahead with promoting region to region and state to state interaction between India and Uzbekistan. I don't know if you know that government of Gujarat and the Andijan region in Uzbekistan have a very vibrant cooperation. And the Gujarat chief minister had come to Uzbekistan in 2019, and lot of B2B and G2B agreements were signed during his visit. And now we are working on looking at possible cooperation between the state of Haryana and the region of Fargana in Uzbekistan. Now, of course, business would find its ways in all sorts of areas wherever your respective strength lies, for Indian traders and enterprises, and for Uzbeks as well. Some of the industries in which Indian businessmen can be very interested, and which would be very good for good prospects. And Ambassador Akhatov also mentioned about that. Pharmaceuticals, of course, India has a large share of exports, imports of Uzbekistan, where Indian pharma is represented, and in the times of pandemic, it has also gone up. So we should look at it, and not only that, we should build on even on traditional medicines like Ayurvedic medicines and wellness products, because they are very good for building immunity against coronavirus. And so we should look at promoting that. Light machinery, a lot of machinery for textile also comes to Uzbekistan from India. We should look at plastic products. At one point of time, we were doing well, but our market share has gone down a bit. Dyes and chemicals for especially for textile industry, is sourced from India, and we should try to enhance that. And I think that all the automotive market of Uzbekistan is expanding very fast, and Indian auto manufacturers and auto components manufacturers should look at this market. As you know that Uzbekistan is the largest country in terms of population in Central Asia, and there's a huge burgeoning middle class. So we should all look at this market. Similarly, agricultural products are really we are looking at pursuing agricultural exports of India to Uzbekistan, also from Uzbekistan to India, because agriculture ministries of both countries are working hand in hand to promote these products. Indian consultants should be present in Uzbekistan, because a lot of good developments are happening in terms of projects in the road sector, water sector, power sector, and IT sector. So Indian consultancy and EPC companies should be present in Uzbekistan to look at these opportunities. As Ambassador Akhatov was also mentioning, ADB, IDB, and many other financial institutions are also funding these projects. So burgeoning market is available, and we should work at that. Lastly, there's we are all working for having greater and efficient connectivity, land connectivity between India and Uzbekistan. India is working through the port of Chabahar in Iran, and we have the support of the government of Uzbekistan, government of Iran. We are all thinking together how to promote more and more the port of Chabahar, which has the potential to solve the connectivity issue in future. As I wanted to tell you that the Embassy of India is present here to help the Indian entrepreneurs and the Uzbek entrepreneurs for any kind of information, visa support, etc. We are very much willing to provide that support. And flights are currently open. And I think that given the pandemic situation, once we are in better times, I would request AI to lead a delegation and come to Uzbekistan, and we will fix good meetings with your counterparts to look into these opportunities. So I would end here, and I look forward to listening to my other panelists and their views. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalantri. Thank you.
Thank you, His Excellency, Mr. Prabhat. I think you gave us a good overview and the opportunities which exist in Uzbekistan for our Indian business people, as well as the Uzbekistan counterparts who can work with India in various areas together. And I think many of the areas were not even known, which you have elaborated to some of us. And I think that will give us another overview to go research into those areas and work together. Thank you very much, sir. Now we have Mr. Oleg Rigichenko to speak to us. He is the head of the Chamber of Commerce of Industry of Uzbekistan in Uzbekistan. Please, Mr. Oleg.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, Mr. Dilshod Ahadov, Your Excellency, Mr. Manish Prabhat, dear participants of this great event, it's a great honor for me today to welcome all of you and to express our highest appreciation on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Uzbekistan. We always consider India and India partners as one of the most important for doing business in Uzbekistan, for attraction investment, for increasing relationship between our business societies. As Mr. Ahadov told in his speech, relationship between our countries in terms of economy increasing very sharply. The increase of trade turnover is almost 25% for the last year, despite of pandemic period. From economic standpoint of view, it's really huge impact. It's huge achievement, and all of us are very proud because of that figures. We are very happy to notice that the number of investors coming to India increased year by year, and also tourists who are coming to our country from India also increasing very sharply. We as a chamber paying special attention to cooperation with Indian partners. We have very strong relationship with such organizations like FICCI, CII, ASOCHAM, TERI, EDI, and many organizations from Gujarat state. Every year we conduct different types of events with them here in Tashkent, in the region of Uzbekistan, as it was mentioned in Andijan and other cities of our country, as well as in India, in Gujarat, Delhi, and other cities of India. We're very proud because of that, and we will continue cooperation on this matter. It's very important to know that here in the chamber in 2019, with support of both embassies, we opened it Uzbek Indian Entrepreneurship Center, and Mr. Sanjeev Chaturvedi was dispatched to the chamber for 2 years to serve as advisor and help us to develop a relationship with business society of India, as well as help to increase potential of the chamber in terms of business education. His Excellency, Mr. Prabhat told in his speech about different types of opportunities that's still untapped in our country, still untapped between Uzbek and Indian businesses. And now with Mr. Chaturvedi, we are working a lot on opening new sectors for both countries. We're working on drafting special marketing researches on different types of product that still is not imported so intensively from India and vice versa. And we are going to discover new markets, new opportunities. Now we're tapped on free products, and we will continue this practice in the future as well. Also, Mr. Ahadov told that we have different types of opportunities in terms of consulting companies, attraction of consulting companies, and Mr. Prabhat also mentioned that we are not so strong today in bringing of best business experience of India in terms of consulting. I'm very proud to say that just 1 hour ago, we came from airport. We met 6 consultants from India who are working with us very closely, helping Chamber to increase and to implement resource efficiency and agro-industrial companies of Uzbekistan. For the next 3 years, we are going to cover with this team 300 Uzbek enterprises. We're working with the TERI, this is Energy Resource Institute of India, and honestly, we are very happy to work with them, because before we worked very close on that matter with European partners from West Asia, but for the last year, we moved for making such type of activity to India, and we're very proud to say that our local partners who are getting such type of the services from the Chamber, using consulting services of Indian partners on very high demand. And of course, we will continue this activity. In conclusion, I would like to say that every day, we as a Chamber working with Indian partners. Every day, as I mentioned it, as I mentioned before, we met with Indians today. Just yesterday, we organized a Zoom call with Mr. Chokshi from Kadila. Every day we're working with Mr. Chaturvedi, and every day we're working with the people from Embassy of Uzbekistan in Delhi and people from Embassy of India in Tashkent. And we're very satisfied, and we would like to express our highest appreciation to both of ambassadors who are today with us for their help, for their assistance. And we feel it and we highly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Oleg. I think it's good to interact with you and work together as you express various organizations. In fact, All India Center of Industry, the AI also got an MOU with Chamber of Commerce. If you go through your record, you will find that we have signed an MOU with your organizations. Not once, but twice, because you had a change of president twice, and we had the signing ceremony at the Uzbekistan Embassy in New Delhi, both the times. Thank you very much, and we look forward to working in close cooperation with you. Now, may I request Mr. Ashwini Lohani, he is the CEO of GMR Services Limited, to speak to us. Of course, GMR, you know, is a big group in India, and not only in airport management and other things, but they are also in power and infrastructure. It's a big infrastructure group company, headquarters with Hyderabad, and working across the India and abroad. Thank you very much, Mr. Lohani. Please speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kalandre. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a privilege and an honor to be here for this webinar. I am from GMR, headquartered in Delhi. It is one of the largest airport developers in the world, with an interest also in power sector, highways and construction projects is also there. But its basic positioning is as airport developers and operators. It runs two of the finest airports in its category in the world, that is Delhi Airport and Hyderabad Airport, besides building two new airports at Goa and near Visakhapatnam. We also operate an airport at Cebu in Philippines. We are building a new airport at Crete in Greece. And we also built an airport, Clark's Airport, recently. Well, we are very, very strong in airports. That is where we offer services. We are also looking at various airport services. This is the new wing which GMR Health Group has formed, wherein we are open to sharing the experience and expertise which we have gained over the years with other airports in India and internationally. We are looking at international expansion and growth in a very aggressive manner, because we have the expertise which is required. We have engineering and maintenance expertise, the commercial expertise, and expertise in various areas of airport operations. So that is one area. Uzbekistan has a large number of airports, including some very renowned airports like Tashkent, Firjana, and Samarkand, that are known worldwide, being gateways to world-renowned tourist destinations. Both Uzbekistan and India can boast of tremendous culture and heritage. And that is actually what drives the tourism sector. I have handled tourism for India and tourism for the state of Madhya Pradesh, and I know the tremendous potential that exists between India and the rest of the world, and between India and countries like Uzbekistan. Well, we can come in forward. We can move forward in, like, the Delhi airport was a small airport in the beginning of the turn of the millennium. It was a very small airport, and now look where Delhi airport is. T3 is one of the finest terminals in the world. Similarly, other airports, similarly the Hyderabad airport and other airports in other cities like Bangalore and Mumbai, which are not owned by GMR, but which have grown big over a period of time. That is where we can really step in and make our contribution. So thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Mr. Rohani. Of course, we all know your potential and working. And of course, when you enter Delhi airport, it is, as you said, world best. It is genuinely world best, because we go in and out of Delhi on regular basis. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now I have Mr. Azmat Isawe, the head of the Department of Trade and Investment and the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade, Government of Uzbekistan. Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vijay Kalantri, His Excellency Mr. Manish Prabhat, and His Excellency Dilshad Ahatov to such a big online conference. So let me put some presentation. Yeah. So on behalf of the Investment Promotion Agency of the Republic of Uzbekistan, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all the participants of the online conference. And I would like to take this opportunity to briefly outline Uzbekistan key reforms implemented in recent years and future plans for the post-COVID period. As you know, the Republic of Uzbekistan is the most populated country in Central Asia, with over 34.5 million, account for more than half of the region's total population. The GDP of Uzbekistan economy is $57.5 billion US, which is in 2020 increased by 1.7% and expected to grow 7% in 2021. Uzbekistan will continue to implementing a strategy of further development of modern domestic road transport infrastructure and its integration into regional and international network. We are promoting connectivity between East Asia and Southern Europe through the Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, including linkage with China. The government of Uzbekistan is making significant effort to increase the capacity of the transport system, remove existing barriers and bottlenecks to facilitate smooth transit of goods through the territory of Uzbekistan. As you know, the central location of our country in the heart of Central Asia plays a great importance for the development of international transport corridors in the region. In Uzbekistan, as a result of improved logistic capabilities and infrastructure network, the 4.7 thousand kilometers of railways and 11 international structural airports and 184,000 kilometers of roads. Now I would like to focus on 4 main reasons why it is the perfect time to invest in Uzbekistan. The first, It's a country whose population is dominated by the young, talented, hardworking citizens, which offers high potential for development of human capital. And second, the convenient and strategic location. Uzbekistan is located in the heart of Central Asia and historically was connecting the East with the West through the facilitation of trade routes and development of commerce. Third, rapidly growing economy with ability to easily reach neighboring markets in the region of more than 300 million people. Fourth, the availability of deserts and sufficient raw material base Uzbekistan almost all the elements listed in the periodic table and sufficient quantities for many key industries. So I would like to draw your attention to the doing business ranking where Uzbekistan, as a result of the ongoing reforms, was able to jump from 166 to 69th place in the global doing business ranking in very short time. It's noteworthy that the last year Uzbekistan entered to the top 20 countries in the world that achieved the greatest results improving the business environment. The assignment of sovereign credit rating by the leading international credit ratings agencies providing the basis and benchmark for global investors and gradually improving their confidence to invest in Uzbekistan. Now, Uzbekistan was named as the country of the year by 2019 in Economist magazine. In addition, Uzbekistan has opened up its border and increased a list of countries whose citizens do not require a visa to enter to Uzbekistan, like 92 countries. And now the most important things is successful privatization depends on the investment attractiveness for the state companies offered for the sale. Moreover, also significantly depends on the general investment climate for the country and the level of development of financial infrastructure. In October 2020, the President signed a decree aimed at accelerating the privatization process. More than 620 state assets planned for privatization to investors, with the key assets initially going through the transformation process. However, 479 enterprises with state ownership will be sold through the public auction and via stock exchange. Current government owns share capital in 13 local commercial banks, which cumulatively accounts for more than 87% of the capital banking system in Uzbekistan. Therefore, the reforms of the current banking system have been made a priority of economic reforms in Uzbekistan and long-term comprehensive development strategy of the banking system. This strategy summarizes the main direction of the development of the banking sector, including transformation and privatization, but two state-owned banks. Now, we had some fund for reconstruction and development of the Republic of Uzbekistan. The Uzbekistan Direct Investment Fund and Uzbek Oman Investment Company can participate as a partner to implement and finance investment projects in Uzbekistan alongside with the international and local partners. So now, if we look at the historical final direct investment inflow, we can observe that number of projects and final direct amount is increasing gradually. During the period from 2016 to 2020, the total attractive final direct investment in Uzbekistan increased from 2 billion up to 6.7 billion US dollars. Most of the final direct investment inflow have been made into the energy, chemical, and automobile industries. In 2021, we anticipate the annual final direct investment will reach approximately 7.5 billion US dollars. It should know the highly dynamic growth, the number of investment project for the 8 times in short period. So during the 3-year period preceding pandemic, Uzbekistan economy grew very rapidly. By the end of 2020, Uzbekistan, one of the few countries in the world and the only country in the region to achieve economic growth 1.7%. In the first half of this year, Uzbekistan economy grew at the annual rate like 6.2%, with the service sector showing the most significant growth, like 8%. Also, main attention was paid to ensure microeconomic stability. Inflation targeting policy has been initiated, and as a result of the appropriate macro policy, inflation rate was reduced from 14.4 to 11.1% currently in 2021. For the purpose of expansion of use of market mechanism and instrument of economic regulation for ensuring macroeconomic stability and increasing efficiency of monetary policy, the target of inflation established by governance at the level of 5% in 2023. So moreover, additional tax benefits are offered to stimulate direct private foreign investment from $300,000 up to $3 million for a period of 3 years, over $3 million up to $10 million for a period for 5 years, over $10 million US dollars for a period of 7 years. So furthermore, there are 21 special economic zones and more than 300 small industry zones, technoparks and clusters operating in Uzbekistan, where investors can enjoy additional incentives and preference for the same period. At the end, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to provide all necessary support to the international business partners and investors interested in working in Uzbekistan in implementing your ideas. I wish all participants fruitful meetings and great success in our endeavors. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you very much. I think we are really impressed by the investments Uzbekistan is getting in various sectors, and hope you do better in times to come. I know a lot of Indian companies look at it very seriously and work together. I think Exim Bank has been giving a credit line for doing business with Uzbekistan, including investment. I think that I could not see in your slide. So you could also let us know when at a later stage how the Exim Bank is faring as far as the credit line and the investment is concerned. Because we have been regularly holding meeting with Exim Bank. Now I'll request Mr. Atul Ganatra, the president of Cotton Association of India, is the biggest cotton association in India, located in Mumbai, and he has kindly agreed to speak to us. Mr. Ganatra, please.
Good afternoon, friends. I am Atul Ganatra, President of the Cotton Association of India. We represent the entire cotton value chain in India, including cotton farmers, traders, exporters, importers, brokers, and textile spinning mills. We have one of the biggest network of cotton testing laboratory in India. We have around 13 laboratories in almost all cotton growing states in India. We provide Indian cotton standards, arbitrations, and crop estimate reports monthly and yearly balance sheet of Indian cotton. India has always expressed keen interest in forming a vibrant trade relation with Uzbekistan since 1993, when the agreement for the trade and economic cooperation between the two countries was concluded. With the first ever visit of President of Uzbekistan in India in 2018, both countries have expressed their bilateral ties and mutual cooperation. Insofar as cotton is concerned, India has a large textile industry. India is the second largest consumer of cotton in the world, while Uzbekistan has been a major exporter of cotton. India is #1 producer of the cotton in the world. We produce around 36 to 37 million cotton bales, and we consume around 33 million bales. We have a huge consumption of cotton in our textile industry. If Uzbekistan has excess cotton production, we can buy cotton from them. And recently I have heard a lot of textile spinning mills have started in Uzbekistan. If they need cotton, we can do the export from India, export of the cotton. The Cotton Association of India will always be happy to interact and coordination with Uzbekistan delegation whenever the need arises. Thank you. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, Mr. Gadatra. You joined late, but I mentioned that when I brought the delegation to your office,
Yes.
Uzbekistan delegation of cotton, we were talking about a joint venture between the cotton seeds of Uzbekistan and India,
Yes.
and mixing it and having a joint breed development
Yes.
of cotton.
We
I
have
think
asked
you
the
didn't mention that.
Yes. We have asked the government the permission to import the seeds, but so far we have not received the permission. So
But
it is
yeah. But good, if you want, we will assist you. But I think we
Okay.
should write to our Indian ambassador and the ambassador of Uzbekistan, and you can send us the
Okay.
copy and we'll follow it up. Because they can
Yes,
take up in
sure.
joint business council meeting. Because
Sure.
they have a joint business council meeting where
Sure.
such issues are discussed.
Okay.
So this
We'll
will,
write
yeah.
to them.
And also
Thank
send
you.
me a copy, so we'll follow it
I
up.
will send you. I'll definitely send you, sir. Thank you.
Now my request, Mr. Nishant Bajaj, co-founder of Germet Pratiksha Bigisomai, a medical clinic in Uzbekistan. It's an Uzbekistan company. And Mr. Bajaj, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Kalantri. I hope that I'm audible.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Your Excellency, Mr. Dilshad Akato, Your Excellency, Shri Manish Prabhat, Mr. Vijay Kalantri, all the eminent speakers and participants who've joined us today. I thank you for the opportunity to represent India, the healthcare sector of India, my company, of course, and my thoughts on this platform. I think this is a great opportunity for entrepreneurs and policymakers and all the catalysts in the industry to, exchange ideas and develop trade between the two countries. So thank you. I'm deeply and greatly honored to represent me. I'm here on behalf of the Zamir Pratiksha Hospital Group. Ours is an Indian and Uzbek joint venture. So Pratiksha Hospitals is a group of chains in India, a group of hospital chain in India. And we have partnered with an Uzbek domestic healthcare provider They have a chain of diagnostic centers in Uzbekistan. And we have formed a joint venture about 3 years ago. And we have launched our first international hospital in the city of Samarkand in the middle of the pandemic in April 2021. His Excellency Sri Manish Prabhat had inaugurated the hospital himself. We are greatly thankful to serve for this great honor. And I would just like to share a few aspects of our journey so far and my journey so far as an entrepreneur, as an Indian entrepreneur in the country of Uzbekistan. So actually, our project came to being because of the push from His Excellency, the President of Uzbekistan, Mr. Shafkat Mirzaev, and his Ministry of Health and the Embassy of Uzbekistan in India. So they were the ones who approached us, came to our hospitals, evaluated our facilities, and invited us to travel to Uzbekistan and explore the possibility of, opening an Indian-Uzbek joint venture clinic. And honestly, there was a great deal of support offered from the very beginning. The intentions were very clear. There was always a lot of transparency. There was a lot of support, and there was a lot of encouragement and motivation, which is the main thing, which, gave us the confidence to travel to another country, look for a local partner. And without the support of the embassies, both of the Embassy of India in Uzbekistan and the Embassy of Uzbekistan in India, along with the support from the government, particularly the Ministry of Health in Uzbekistan, the Health Minister and the Deputy Health Minister himself, who we had the honor of hosting multiple times at our clinics in India. This project would not even have seen would have never seen the light of day. And now I am proud to announce that we not only did we start our first hospital in April 2021 in the city of Samarkand, we are currently under we are another 2 hospitals, one in Samarkand and one in Bukhara, are already under construction. And this project is just a stepping stone to a forthcoming and bigger objective of health and medical service in Uzbekistan, which will provide healthcare not only to the people of Uzbekistan, but also from neighboring countries in Central Asia. As Mr. Azamat pointed out, Uzbekistan is very favorable in terms of the population numbers, the access to other countries in Central Asia, the economic reform that the country is currently undergoing, the support of the government and the entire infrastructure. We've been speaking to ADUI, the Abu Dhabi Investment Fund, for funding our growth and our scaling up there as equity partners, and the conversations have been going on in a very constructive manner, despite the challenges that COVID has sort of thrown upon us. So our goal is to pool resources, knowledge from our teams in Uzbekistan and India, and who have been working together very closely for the last 2 years with a lot of bilateral visits. And even during the pandemic, when international travel was very difficult, our doctors, nurses, management team, we have had a lot of travel between India and Uzbekistan, and we hope to send bigger teams once the pandemic dies down. Again, I'd like to underline the fact that the partnership of the Uzbekistan government is basically what has enabled us to get this far, and it will remain essential for the future of our hospitals. I'd like to conclude by ending my talk with a brief message for entrepreneurs who are looking to explore opportunities in Uzbekistan. I can just speak from my experience of the last 3.5 years that the country is booming. Mr. Azamat presented a lot of economic and social figures which are a testament to that fact. And I would just like to say that the people are very warm and welcoming. Our cultures, there's a lot of similarity between our cultures. You don't feel like a foreigner being an Indian in Uzbekistan. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to contribute to the growth of what is going to be undoubtedly one of the fastest growing economies in the near future. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Bajaj. I think medical care is one of the important thing and a good area to work on. And I'm happy that you started with medical care in Uzbekistan and you are moving fast there. We hope other companies also who are listening today, there are many other opportunities for them to come over and work in Uzbekistan and invest in Uzbekistan. Now I request Mr. Sanjay Bhan, the director of Edifice, mining company based out of Uzbekistan, and we'll hear his views. But there are many other areas where we can think of, because I think if the Mr. Dilshod Akhtar is listening to me, the Uzbekistan has also opened up in oil and gas areas. Because last time when the minister was here, foreign minister, 2 years back, he had told me that we are opening up. Mining is the first time. There are various types of mining areas. Of course, we'll come to know from Mr. Bhan. But even in exploration of oil and gas, they opened up. So, Mr. Bhan, please. Please unmute yourself. Mr. Bhan, unmute yourself.
Sir, good evening. Thank you so much for taking me as a panelist in your such a great occasion. I would like to, submit my good wishes and greetings to His Excellency Mr. Manish Prabhat and His Excellency Mr. Dilshod Akhtar. I had an opportunity to meet him in Delhi when I was visiting. Sir, I introduced myself as Sanjay Bhan. Having a mining industry over here, I have around 6 mines. They are of onyx, marble, and granite. As you said, sir, Mr. Vijay sir, you said about mining scope. Well, I'm based in Navai region, the central part of Uzbekistan, which is very rich in mining resources, which are not being explored as it was supposed to be, as I understand. As I understand, it is one of the 10th position in the world in gold reserves Uzbekistan holds. And besides uranium, we have copper, zinc, lead, tungsten. Of course, as you said, the oil was discovered very close by where I live by Russian agencies in Navai region. Sir, there is a lot of scope in mining industry. If anybody is interested to come over from India and participate or invest over here, the mining industry is one of the industry which is very huge and unexplored. As I have benefited myself being here in last 3 years, I've seen the tremendous growth and the achievements the mining industry is having, and it's more milestones to go on. There is other sector of business which is developing very faster, that is real estate. My immediate and equivalent partner, Mr. Muralilal Jalan, his company, MJ Developers, they are doing Minerva City projects and other city projects as well in Tashkent and Namagan. So the real sector market is very good over here. The building material industry, if any investor is interested in investing in building materials, that is a good idea. If they have a lot of opportunities. That is all I'll have to say at this very moment. It is one of the only countries, I think, which is offering 100% FDI. So, and with tax incentives, it is beneficial for any investor from India to come. And I would also like to address few experience where I'm finding few difficulties. I would like to bring it to the consideration of His Excellency and Mr. Oleg Rigichenko and Mr. Azmat Isiev. Sir, my experience in last 3 years, I found myself, try to learn about the rules and regulation, and the information which is available through net is in English, and that is very brief. A detailed information which could help investors has to be converted into English language, where are any other foreign languages from where the foreign investors are coming. Secondly, as Mr. Vijay Kalantri was addressing, and our Honorable Ambassador, His Excellency Mr. Manish Prabhat also was addressing about the bilateral trade, the growth is required. Sir, I believe, and I've heard about this, that the government of Uzbekistan has been, is committed to provide some subsidies in logistical transportation, whether be it road, train, or air. But it is not well informed to the logistical agencies who are providing the services, and we are not getting benefit out of it. As we all know that India is a double landlocked country. Yes, of course, it is globally, geographically positioned for European market as a Silk Route. But if we need to improve our exports to India from Uzbekistan, as we all are aware that the pandemic situation in Afghanistan, by which the agriculture and food market has been disturbed. This is the right time where we can also focus of promoting and exporting our foods from Uzbekistan to India. And thank you. I'm very grateful, Mr. Vijay Kalantri, giving me an opportunity to speak from here on this platform. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Bhan. His Excellency, Mr. Dilshod Akhto, His Excellency, Mr. Prabhat Kumar. I think we had a great discussion with various speakers and interaction, and a good overview by both the ambassadors and about what is in Uzbekistan, and also the companies from Uzbekistan and companies from India who would like to work with you, and also the government department and the Chamber of Commerce. So I think we had a good combination of interaction today. One area we forgot was the film shooting. You know, Alibaba Charlie Store was the first film which was shot in Uzbekistan. And then we recently saw Babar, The Empire, which is a web series by Nikhil Advani, shot in Uzbekistan. I had the pleasure of hosting 2 cultural programs from Uzbekistan. The singers of Uzbekistan singing Hindi songs. And you could not believe that they are singing Hindi songs. We had a program in the hall in Mumbai. Twice the troupe had come from Uzbekistan, and we had organized. I think this is another area which we could work on, because this is cultural and entertainment also goes well with food and industry and mining and pharma and all, because finally you want to also de-stress yourself and work together. And I heard that many of the even Raj Kapoor films are still popular there in Uzbekistan, besides the other film stars. So joint venture in film production and all could be another one area to work on, in the cultural exchange of programs. If anybody does not have any other...
There's a question for prospects for Ayurveda in Uzbekistan.
There is one question, sir, which I think Mr. Dilshod or Mr. Manish Prabhat could answer us. The prospects of Ayurveda medicines in Uzbekistan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Kalantri, for raising this question. On a small basis, I think that due to the individual initiatives of some trading companies, a few Ayurvedic products are available in markets of Uzbekistan, and the demand has been growing. And as you know that when the number of COVID cases had risen very high last year, then Uzbek government had approved a list of emergency medicines and such health supplements and nutritional products, which were shown to be effective in countering the dangers of coronavirus infection. And among those lists, there were also some Chinese traditional medicines. So when we had seen that, we had also requested the Pharmaceutical Agency of Uzbekistan to give permission to Ayurvedic products also. And we were given the answer that it is possible if you bring the products here with a few samples, so that it can be tested here, and then it can be you can be given this kind of authorization. And emergency authorization was on at that time. So I had also written about this to our EPCs and Department of Commerce and the Ministry of Ayush. those who are still interested in that, they must look at this market also, because it goes with the growing popularity of pharma products, and Ayurvedic medicines or health supplements are not exactly pharma products, but they're also wellness products, and I think that demand is growing. So it is it would be good that if you can make a few contacts here, the embassy would also help you and try to explore the market. It is already happening on individual scales.
One more question on the similar lines. If the pharma companies, they produce products in India and they do the packaging in Uzbekistan in the free economic zone of pharma, you have 2-3 free economic zones which have been really designated. Our Mr. Dilshad also had mentioned about it, His Excellency. So is it possible that they produce the pharma here, do packaging in Uzbekistan and sell in the Uzbekistan economic area? You have an economic zone which is with few countries, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan. You have some treaty, economic treaty, what you call it. So
I think
can they do that? This is another question. Yeah.
So I personally, I'm not aware of the rules in great details about the free pharmaceutical zone. I don't think that, without any value addition, you can just package in Uzbekistan and, producing in India. But this is a, question which should be best answered by my Uzbek colleagues, because, it is their policies and, their zones basically. But if any, formal requests come to us, we would also try to help finding these.
Anybody from Uzbek agency could answer this, please? Any of the speakers from Uzbekistan government or investment agency or embassy?
Thank you, Mr. Kalantri, for about this farm picking issues in Uzbekistan nowadays. As our ambassador mentioned, nowadays in the territory of Uzbekistan, there are 7 free farm zones and 1 Tashkent farm cluster is working. So the main attracts of these companies is the participants of these zones exempt from lots of tax, including land tax and profit tax and others. Uzbekistan is very highly appreciated, highly interested in attracting all Indian companies, including these such kind of companies, Indian investors, and other advanced technologies in farm sector to produce some modern and competitive drugs, and creation of modern laboratories and other research centers focus on the development of such kind of drugs. It also includes such kind of bulk drugs and others. And the main issue is through implementing such projects, these Indian companies will gain access to Uzbekistan market. Our 35 million people, which has the largest population in Central Asia. Besides, at the same time, through free trade agreement of Uzbekistan with all CIS countries and Georgia, they can gain market access to more than 3 million people. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we had a very good session. So let me thank His Excellency, Mr. Dilshad, the Ambassador of Uzbekistan in India, our Ambassador, Mr. Manish Prabhat, Indian Ambassador in Uzbekistan, various other dignitaries from the government, Mr. Azbat Isev, Mr. Oleg Richenko, the Chamber of Commerce, then Mr. Sanjay Bhan, Mr. Nishant Bajaj, Ashwini Lohani, the CEO of GMR, and other friends who have participated, and all my delegates who have joined us today in this interesting meeting and the event. And we all wish Uzbekistan very happy Independence Day. Of course, it was on 31st, and they completed 30 years of good diplomatic, excellent relation between India and Uzbekistan, and we take it forward. And thanks all of you, and all the best.
Thank you.
AII, on behalf of AII and World Trade Center, thank you for sparing your valuable time, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.